A very good morning to you. Welcome to Good Morning East Africa for Money and Technology. My name is Wangui Ngugi, and in today's show, we are going to be talking about mobile money and mobile money transfer. In studio with me is a special guest by the name Abdi Yusuf. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here with you today to show and participate in this mobile payment and technology. My pleasure.
Abdi, you've been in the banking industry for quite some time. You used to work for the State Street Bank and Trust Company that is based in Boston.
That's correct. Actually, I don't do that now, but in my former life, I was actually working in the financial service industry for 32 years.
Wow, that's nice.
I started as a young guy who just freshly graduated from college. And my first job while working for State Street Bank and Trust Company, and it is the what we call a global custody department, where securities are traded globally, and I was a portfolio accountant. That's how I started my career. I moved up the chain of management, and my last job, I was in charge of technology systems as a vice president level. So yes, I do have a background of that before I decided to strike on my own and become an entrepreneur.
And right now you are working with a US-based company called TAM Global Inc.
That's correct. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of TAM Global Inc. It is a really a holding company that has many things in it. We have subsidiaries in Salalah, Oman. We have actually a recently opened office in Djibouti in the free zone called TAM Global General Trading FC Co. We have a rep office in Bosaso. I mean, in Hargeisa, trying to have also something similar done. We also have a representative right now represented in Ethiopia. So even though we are based in US, really our focus is really Africa, and Africa is our main focus.
Abdi Yusuf, welcome to the show. And like I said, today's show is all about mobile money. So what is mobile money, first of all? And where did all this start?
My pleasure to be here with you. The mobile really is itself. If we're talking about, look at the mobile money. There's two words. It's a money, that's a mobile, moving from A to B. Whether that is in days or we're talking about milliseconds in the modern technology. So I think the focus and the context in this thing you're talking about, the modern mobile payment system is a device-based, a cell phone, whether it's not what we call not so smartphone that only can take a voice and a text, or whether you're talking about device like iPhone X or XS. We're talking about device-based, where a user has a banking function available to him, where they can send money to anyone, anywhere. At least if it's a telco base, there's some constraint. Depends, for example, if you're talking about M-Pesa, if you're talking about Zad, where we are right now in Somaliland, if you're talking about Sahel in Somalia, when you look at those things, all these are device based, okay, and it's moving money from one person to another. Moving money from an individual to a merchant in order to buy and purchase a good. So these are really, it's a money that moves ultimately from A to B. Okay, it's a moving that means is you have a balance from A, the originator. You take a kind of electronic entry, take that, reduce that money, and put it into another. And that all happens instantaneously, sometimes in milliseconds. So I think the context we're talking about is that modern, either telco-based or platform-based mobile payment systems.
So basically, it's taking physical cash, you change it into electronic form, and then you send it over to whoever you want to send it to.
Exactly. So the device, if we will go through the what I call the flow of how this starts, you open an account. That's not different than going to a traditional bank and then saying, okay, here my name is so and so. I don't want to open a current account, a checking account, whatever it is with a traditional bank, commercial bank. They open an account for you. They say, okay, now that we have an account, what is your deposit? It's like cash. So you carefully, they give you a booklet and say, hey, I put $100 in that account under this account number. This is a similar in fashion because ultimately the person who's going to have this account has to put money. So the starting point is an actual cash initially.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're going to go to this when you actually, someone sends you money, which you actually don't have to because someone already is sending you money. You don't have to have a cash involved initially. But initially, the originator has to have moved to a place, submit a cash, give it to MAF, and then through an account on a device, put a cash and say, now we took your money, but we gave you sort of an entry book and a cash on a ledger, electronic ledger that says now you own $1,000 or $100 in that account. From that point on, it's a moving air, if you think about it. It's very like a word, where you can say, now I can send $5 to my aunt in village X.
Yes.
Okay. Instantaneously, she gets the money.
She gets the money.
Now she goes to the store.
Yeah.
She said $5. She buys a good.
Yeah.
She transfers $2 out of that.
Yeah.
Her balance is reduced by $2, and now she has a balance of of 3, I should say. And now the merchant has received electronically $2.
Yeah.
So if you think about from that point, if you move from the what we call the topping up or priming up of the initial transaction, from that point on is all really electronic entry, moving from A to B to C to D, and in circulation in all in milliseconds.
Well, here in Africa, it started with M-Pesa, then we had MTN in Uganda, then now we have ZAD, and I believe technology comes to solve a problem. So there is something that was being tried to solve, or probably there was a gap that needed to be filled. What was this gap?
Yeah, definitely. That's a very excellent question. In the third world, which actually you mentioned Kenya and Mbesa, you're talking about MTN in Uganda, you're talking about Somalians, the Sahelians. All these things really was a response to an existing need. If you were already banked, if you have a banking account, probably you could do other things. Even in the early banking, they could have a money transfer electronically. It was not device-based, it was not mobile-based. But I could actually go to my PC and I say log into my account and I can say a cash transfer. And I can have another bank person, I can transfer money. That exists for a long time. But what these devices allow is what we call the unbanked, which is the great majority of the population in Africa. You have 1 million of people who've been already or never been connected to the banking system. Now the modern technology allows those to be brought in to the banking system. Unfortunately, it's not a banking who's doing that. It's actually either telcos or platform-based companies.
Yes.
Traditional banks fail to act on that, to see the potential that a lot of money out there under the mattress that these people who are unbanked had. Or
probably they thought these people were poor and they cannot afford a bank account.
They thought about, but what they didn't realize, the majority of the population are poor. And if you have a $5 here, $5 there, that's a real money.
Yes. Okay.
Another thing is that to solve the problem is there are people who are professionals working in the urban area. They have relatives in the small villages. Okay. How did they send money in the past? They probably have to go to the post office, or they have to find a relative or someone acquaintance who will be going to that village, and they have to give a cash and say, "Can you take this money to my mother there?"
Like physically.
Physically, the money, or go to the postal office and send the money there with all the risk that inherits in that. Right now, that person, because mom finally got its own device, he can send our money and. Within milliseconds, mom has that money available. So it created that convenience that was not there. So you have people who were not banked, now they're part of the banking. It created a convenience, even those who were banked, right now are kind of going droves to the mobile system. If you go to Kenya and say you're professionals, lawyers, doctors, what they use, M-Pesa. Who want to carry cash around?
Nobody.
With the risk inherent in that, people either pickpocketing you, people who can literally, physically can attack you because you have money. You don't need to do that. So it's a convenience, but also it brought in a lot of people who are not banked to the system.
Well, it is said that out of every 10 Somali people, 9 of them own a mobile phone, and that means they have access to mobile money banking. So how else do they use this mobile money service? Is it just for sending and receiving money, or what other services does mobile money offer?
Yeah, I think what we're saying is, yes, there is a tradition of moving money from A to B. Okay, whether that A is another individual or is a merchant, you're moving A to B. But right now, what you're saying is, this device is now allowed to do more banking. Remember, banking, traditional banking that they have is they are deposit taking institution. You walk in, you leave your money. What they do with our money?
Yeah.
They lend our money to businesses.
Yes.
Okay. They lend that to people to basically buy a house, buy a car, what have you. Right now you have these platforms, and it's not necessarily always telco based, but because there's we want to discuss what are the types. We haven't discussed that yet. But there are other services that can be attached to this. Okay. Bill payment is a service that you can provide
like
on this
electricity
device.
bills.
Electricity. Right now you have countries who actually divide, like Afghanistan. It was a case in point. M-Pesa is there.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a situation that I read some time ago that the soldiers used to get through their officers the salary. That's how they used to get that.
Using mobile money?
No, not. We're talking the old-fashioned way of a cash.
Okay.
So the officers were given officers lining up, and then here's your salary. That's how they used to do it. M-Pesa was introduced in Afghanistan. And centrally, the money was sent to every soldier directly through the devices. And everyone looked at their salary and they say, oh my God, we had a 30% raise. My money that I used to receive from officer and what I'm receiving is today is a lot more. Did I get a raise? What they realized, the officers were skimming of the money from the officers. They were not giving 100%. They were keeping 30% of the soldier's salary for themselves. So even reduce corruption. So you have salaries being right now distributed that way. Okay, right now these mobile devices in some other countries like China, which Alipay or WeChat Pay, you can purchase online.
Yeah.
So now you go, instead of having a Visa or this, and now you have another thing. Do you want to pay in Alipay? That's another payment method.
Yeah.
M-Pesa could do the same thing. I don't know if they do that because I'm not familiar with that. But these payment devices allow other services to be incorporated, and it's beyond person to person, or what we call anyone to anyone payment of moving funds from A to B.
Well, in my opinion, I think mobile money came in also to solve the problems that we have in the world. For example, the poverty levels.
Yeah.
You see, a woman had to wait until the husband returns home to give her money. Therefore, you'd find like the family is living a poor life. But right now, even if the husband is far away in a faraway country, they can just receive money on their mobile phones. How has mobile money contributed to the development of our economies?
Absolutely, you're right. That delay of that person has been away in a far away place. Cannot deliver that money on time. The rent is late. Food is in shortage. All these things. It really solves a lot of problems. But also, the merchant who depends on that customer right now doesn't have a lot of customers coming. That's the circulation of money. That's how the economy works. Okay, so it reduces a lot of friction in the system. Okay, and friction itself by nature it costs money. Okay? It costs the economy. Once you have what they call circulation of money, how many times you can turn over a dollar. Okay, that philosophy of money is an economic activity, and overall the economy actually grows. Another thing that I can tell you, there are a lot of merchants in Africa. People buying products from town A to town B. Right now they saying, okay, send me the goods, I'm going to send you the money. It will be instantaneous, and the money will be, basically the product will be shipped instantaneously. In the past, what they will do, he will travel, go there, and then he will come back when he pays with actual cash. Now he doesn't do that. He said, give me your best account. I'm going to put that money in right now. Today, ship me the product that I need. So the economy moves faster. And when the economy moves faster, economic activity that is the growth to the gross domestic product of the economy. So it is really not only the convenience, but the economy overall growth becomes larger now because of this.
Well, indeed, mobile money has really done a lot of good things in our society. But of course, technology comes with challenges and disadvantages. And now I want us to talk about these challenges surrounding mobile money technology.
Absolutely.
What are the risks associated with somebody putting all their money in their mobile money accounts?
Absolutely. Think about traditional banks. When you put money into a bank, you go to a bank, there's a brick and mortar, there's actual physical location. There's a manager, there's a tellers. You feel a sense of security. There's a wall behind my money. It's there. And when I need it, I can go there and grab it. Right now, I'm just going to be, in Ambessa, I heard that it has about 120,000 agents. These are small barber shops and all this. All this, and it's good because it's convenience. I can go to my little village and I can go where I buy my grocery and I can get these services. But what it's introduced is who really owns the money? Okay, where is my money? That's a question. If you have Ambessa and you have a Safaricom or Vodafone or whoever that is a question, is Vodafone a bank? Is Ambessa a bank? Is there a guarantees that surrounds that I will absolutely, or at least a government guarantee that behind it that says if the company goes belly up. Remember, this is a private company. Even banks, which are private company in the West and the rest of the world, there is a regulatory environment, either central banks, that will say you have to have some sort of what we call at least a reserve amount, deposits, you have to keep. So once you're taking a deposit, there's a percentage that goes to the central bank where it's kept. Sometimes in the US, there's insurance that every account has to go, called FIDC. It's that account is insured. Right now, I think the last time I checked was $250,000 per account. $250,000 per account. That what will be guaranteed. Right now, who guarantees that? What are the safeguards? If this is telco base, what is my account? It's on my SIM card.
Yeah, actually, when you go to register for a mobile money account, all they need is your phone number.
It's a phone number, okay? And initially, when you're priming up, they may even know that. Remember this. If I initiated this thing, they may take a picture of me, okay? Yeah, but again, there is a transfer that happening back and forth between people and all this. There is not at least that I know, robust KYC. KYC, know your customer. Who is actually my customer? That's very important. Okay. Again, if this my account is based on SIM card number, a phone number. If God forbid something happens to me, does my family know that I had $1,000?
Such amount of money.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, $1,000 in Africa is a lot of money.
Yes, a lot.
Does anyone knows that I have that money? Is there a guarantee that says who is the beneficiary of this account? My understanding is some of them may have that, but even if they do, they're doing that on a self-regulatory basis. They're doing that on their own. But there's not a really strong regulatory environment that says you have to do this. Is the how you do certain things. Okay. This is how you safeguard. I really cannot tell you right now one Ambessa, which is largest. Right now they have a presence of 5 countries. Who is the custodian? Who guarantees? Who is the trustee of that money? I don't know. All I know is they acted like a bank, like a branchless bank, because they have a network of 120,000. In country like Somalia, which really the government didn't have a regulatory regimes in place because of the civil strife that happened, who guarantees that the money that SAD has or SAL has, or who guarantees that? What is the regulatory environment? I'm not saying these guys will walk away with the money, and don't get me wrong. So far, this was going on well for so long. But I think these are the things that the central banks either need to somehow regulate these mobile service providers. They in order to safeguard the customer.
So other than these services being unregulated, are there any other risks that are associated, like can a hacker hijack my accounts and take my money.
Yes, unfortunately, yes and yes. Those things could happen. This is the technology. Okay, you can, for example, if everything. Remember, you have a device. You have a server somewhere, whether it's in the cloud. That means it's something that you don't have a servers in your premise. You are basically time sharing something that you can project through satellite and all this. And Amazon will be one, Microsoft could be another, called a cloud, which ultimately will end up with an actual physical service in a data center. But there could be a virus or could be a denial of service, what they call, because someone is jamming your IP address and all that. All this could happen. It's not different than really the traditional bank. They also could be subject to something similar. Right now, it's because you have these devices, you have this thing. It's so risky. I think it telco-based because of that number, and you have a PIN code, that can be really kind of trapped. Or maybe someone kind of next to you is looking where you put that in. And, and I heard a lot of stories saying, hey, someone find out my password. When I woke up in the morning, someone transfer
all the money.
all the money to an account that I don't know. Okay, it happens. So there is a security issue there. There's, of course, the encryption. There are many things that technologies are coming up and reacting to these hackers and all this. But also this technology is also improving. Right now, there are payment systems that are based on QR code based. Alipay is one of them. Pay ATM, like I mentioned, is another one. WeChat Pay is another. They're all QR based. It's a lot secure. You're talking about image. Okay. And instead of putting in something, if you have a smartphone, you're going to be scanning the QR code. You already know who the merchant is. It comes on. I don't have to put what's my account, which I can have a transposition error. Instead of a 2-1, I can have a 1-2. And guess what? 1-2 is someone else's account. I send that, money's gone. Okay. It's not like that because I can have a QR code that says, scan it, my smartphone. The name of the merchant comes up. I put that in. No issue. You have a QR code of an individual that I can save on my device. If my mother, and it's a repeat, I know I already sent this person. So I know who that person is that I'm sending money to. So there is a better technology, and that's really where right now the world is moving to. It's not telco-based, it's going to be internet-based. Also, it's a more global in nature, because if I'm right now in, let me give you an example of those devices. I made, by the way, there's another company called Yell Pay. It's based in U.S. Actually, it's just launching right now as we speak in Puntland, Somalia.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
It's the internet-based. It's a QR-based code, and you can make a payment globally. You are not tied to a SIM card. You are not tied to a SIM card, and it's a really cool stuff. I'm a user, a customer of my company uses that because when I was in U.S., I had a consultant worker in Djibouti, and I owe him money. Actually, I used Yell Pay to send the money. He was able to collect his money in Djibouti by going to an agent of Yell in Djibouti and cash out.
Wow.
It was all instantaneous. So I don't have to have a kind of phone, either Golis or Telsom and all these, which will not work in the U.S. Now it's all internet-based. He has a Yell QR code that I say pay, send the money, was all dollar-based, boom, he collect the money, now he's happy. I'm never, similar thing, you can have a merchant, so you can, if you are in Dubai and you have salaries to do, you can send the money basically and say, every of your employees, so you can distribute the money while you're in Dubai.
Yes. Well, technology is really amazing, and nobody can predict what we can expect. Like, so much is coming.
That's so true.
Yes. So what's the future of mobile money? Are we
I think it's very difficult to do it because the pace of technology. But one thing I can assure you is the world is moving to a cashless society. With people carrying cash around in a paper form, I think its days are numbered. We can see that right now in some place like Somalia. We did not really print any valid Somali shilling. Unfortunately, it's all dollar-based economy right now. But no one carries cash. Hardly anyone does that. I'm assuming the same thing goes to in Kenya, in
yeah.
M-Pesa. I heard right now beggars in Beijing, in China, they have a QR code.
Really?
Yes. Basically,
Wow.
they will not
Okay.
accept one at all if you give them something to say, all right, send the money to
the
my
code.
QR code.
Oh.
That's how they do it. Okay, so now you're moving that. Again, all the central banks of the Middle East, I just was in Salalah, Oman, and actually Muscat, Oman, I should say, recently. The Oman Central Bank is actually mandating all banks in Oman to move to a cashless, what they call a contactless environment in 2019.
Okay.
They doing that.
Yeah.
So it's if you go back rim, Pacific, we have somewhat of a colleague of mine we were discussing. He's going in Papua New Guinea. They're looking for that. So the world is moving to that. That is the cashless. It's not. It's just coming. It's gonna come. It's when. And in some places, it's already here. The future is now, really, in many places. Well,
indeed, we have learned a lot from you. Thank you for making time to come to CBA. And indeed, we are evolving, just like we evolved from the Ramapithecus and Homo habilis. Even money is changing. Thank you so much for making time. It was lovely having you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure was all mine. And I think what are you guys doing here, especially the technology and money, it's really it's a fascinating topic. And I think thank you again for being part of your program.
Okay, welcome. And to you, our audience, I hope you really enjoyed and learned a lot from this. From us here at CBA TV, have a wonderful day.